Maybe you've noticed it, that quiet little voice inside you, the one that comments, reflects, sometimes complains, sometimes celebrates. It says things like, I like this, or I don't like that, or even just, this is me. It's always there, isn't it? Watching, judging, telling the story of who we are. Most of the time, we just accept it. We call it me, or the self, or the observer. It feels solid, real, like it's the center of everything. But what if it's not really what it seems? What if the I you feel so certain about is just a story you've been telling yourself over and over for your whole life? We live as if there's a wall between us and the world. Me here, life out there, and maybe it seems obvious, even necessary. But that little separation quietly shapes so much of our worry and fear. Loneliness creeps in because we think we are alone, cut off. Anxiety grows because this I feels small in a world that is big and unpredictable. Conflicts happen because life doesn't always give us what we want, and sometimes other people seem to stand in the way. Maybe the real problem isn't the world at all. It's how we see it through the story of me. And that's okay, it's normal, most of us live this way. But what if the I isn't solid at all? What if it's not separate from the world, but more like a flowing river, moving and changing with everything else? That's where we can start to notice something curious. If we look gently, just for a moment, into our own experience, how thoughts rise and fall, how feelings come and go, maybe we see that there isn't a permanent I behind it all. Just this moment, this movement, life itself, happening. Imagine looking at a tree. You see its green leaves, its shape, your body, your eyes, your mind. All of it comes together to notice the tree. But nowhere in that moment do you find a solid me that owns the seeing. And the tree itself isn't just a thing standing there. It's sunlight, water, wind, time. The seeing, the tree, the moment, they arise together like a wave in the sea. They are not two separate things, even though we've always thought they are. It's funny how easy it is to believe in a wall that's not really there. Maybe this feels strange. Maybe it's even a little unsettling. But there's something freeing in it, too. If the self is not fixed, then the small fears, the little stories we tell ourselves, they don't have to control us. Life can flow through us instead of being held at arm's length. We don't have to be trapped behind our own mind. And maybe, just maybe, we can start to feel a connection to everything around us, soft and quiet, like breathing. You don't have to do anything fancy to notice this. You can just sit quietly, feel your body, notice your breath, or watch a bird outside your window. Life is moving, and so are you, right in the middle of it. That's already enough. That gentle noticing, without judgment, without needing to fix anything, is the start of seeing clearly. And if this is your first time tuning in, maybe subscribe, so we can explore these small, quiet moments together. You don't need to change anything, just come along. It's okay if it doesn't make sense at first. This isn't a lesson. There's no right way to do it. You might feel waves of thought or nothing at all. That's fine. Just notice. Maybe you start to feel life isn't quite as separate as you thought. Maybe the I you cling to is more like a story unfolding, not a thing you have to protect. And maybe, over time, you start to feel a little lighter, a little freer, even if it's just for a moment. And that's where we begin, the whisper of life itself, not through ideas or rules, but through noticing, through being here gently. You don't have to hold on to anything. You don't have to solve it. Just watch the river of yourself. Watch the world moving around you. See how they're never really apart. And maybe, just maybe, that's where a new kind of freedom starts. Maybe now you're beginning to notice something. That life isn't a wall between you and the world. Maybe the I you thought was solid is more like a wave in the ocean, rising and falling with everything else. And if that's true, then how do we live with it? How do we move through life when the self is not fixed, when nothing is really separate? Maybe it starts with the smallest things, the moments that feel ordinary, even painful. Pain is a good teacher. We all know it. It might be in your body, a tight shoulder, a throbbing knee, or in your heart, a worry, a fear, a memory that won't leave. Most of the time, we resist it. We tense, we push, we tell ourselves, I shouldn't feel this, or why me? That's what the Buddha called the second arrow. The first arrow is just the pain itself. That's real. But the second arrow is the story we add, the suffering we create on top of it. And maybe, just maybe, we can notice that story without having to believe it. We can watch the first arrow and let the second one fade away. It's the same with anger, sadness, even frustration. When anger arises, want a story. I'm wrong. I'm hurt. This is not fair. We feed it, replay it, make it solid. But mindfulness, just gentle noticing, asks, can I see this for what it is? A storm passing through. Notice the tight chest, the quick breath, the clenching jaw. They are real, but they are not you. They are conditions, rising and falling. And when we stop feeding them with stories, the fire begins to cool. It's simple, but it takes patience. It's okay if it doesn't happen at once. Just a little noticing, a little space. That's already enough. You may wonder, does this mean I stop caring? Stop acting? No, it's not about withdrawing. It's about clarity. It's about responding instead of reacting. Imagine someone yells at you or hurts you. Usually, the self wants to defend, to fight, to prove it's right. But if you notice that the self isn't fixed, that the story of me is just that, a story, then something shifts. You can act with care, with precision, without the fire of anger burning behind it. You don't have to hate. You don't have to collapse. There's space now. Space to see. Space to breathe, space to choose. And maybe this is the beauty of it. The ordinary moments, breathing, walking, watching, listening, they're all part of this flow. You might notice a bird landing on a branch, the way sunlight moves through leaves, the sound of your own breath. Life isn't separate from you. You're part of it, moving with it, like a wave inseparable from the sea. And when we see this even just a little, it changes everything. The small annoyances, the fears, the sadness, they aren't walls anymore. They're passing weather. Neuroscience even whispers this to us. There's a part of the brain called the default mode network that loves to tell the story of me. It replays the past, worries about the future, labels everything. But during quiet noticing, deep presence meditation, it softens. It's like turning down the volume of that constant inner narrator. Not erasing it, just seeing it for what it is. And when we do, life flows more freely. The world isn't attacking us. We're not separate from it. And maybe we can finally feel a little lighter. And it's okay if it feels strange or even scary. Let it be okay. You don't have to fix yourself. You don't have to solve life. Just watch, feel, notice. Maybe a breath becomes a friend. Maybe a moment of pain becomes a teacher. Maybe the I you thought you had is simply a river moving, carrying everything along with it. Even this little noticing, repeated gently, begins to change how we move through the world. We start to see people not as threats, not as obstacles, not as enemies, but as beings moving through their own rivers of experience. It doesn't mean we let anyone hurt us, But it does mean we stop making a wall between me and them. There's room now for care, for compassion, for understanding. Not because we force it, but because we see clearly. And maybe that's the invitation. Life doesn't have to be a battle between a separate self and the world. Life can be this dance, this flow, this movement that we're part of, even if only for a moment. And if you want, maybe join this little journey together. Subscribe so we can share these quiet, gentle moments of noticing, of being present. No pressure, no rush, just gentle reminders, whispers, and maybe a little space to breathe in the middle of everything. So let's take this slowly. Notice your breath. Feel your body. Watch the world moving around you. And see if, just for a moment, you can let the story of me soften. Let the walls between you and life melt even a little. It's okay if it's small. It's okay if it's fleeting. This is enough. This is how the journey begins. Maybe by now you're starting to feel it. That subtle shift when the story of me softens just a little. It's not dramatic. It doesn't have to be. It may be a small sigh, a little lightness in your chest, a quiet noticing that things aren't as separate as you once thought. And yet, this noticing is the doorway to something remarkable. Freedom. Not the kind of freedom that comes from control or power, but a deep, quiet freedom. The kind that arises when you stop building walls inside yourself. Life doesn't stop sending challenges. Pain still happens. People still hurt us. And sometimes the world feels heavy. But with this awareness, something changes. We don't have to react with the old patterns. Fear, anger, resistance. We start to see that these reactions are just part of the flow. They are conditions arising, not commands we must obey. And in that space, we can act differently. Maybe we respond with care instead of rage. Maybe we speak with gentleness instead of snapping. Maybe we simply breathe and notice and allow life to move through us. It's okay if this feels strange at first. We are so used to defending the self, protecting the I at all costs, that letting go feels almost impossible. But letting go doesn't mean disappearing. It doesn't mean doing nothing. It means noticing clearly. It means acting from understanding rather than fear. It means feeling your own heart, but also sensing the world's heartbeat around you. And when you do, even in small ways, life softens. Walls that once felt solid between you and others, between you and the world, begin to dissolve. Maybe someone yells at you. Usually the story of I would flare up. You defend, blame, argue. But with this awareness, you can pause. You notice your breath, the rise and fall of your chest, the tension in your shoulders. You notice the person in front of you, their fear, their pain, their own little I telling a story. You may still speak. You may still act. But the reaction is lighter, calmer, precise, even compassionate. You don't have to harden your heart. You don't have to collapse. There's space to see, space to respond, space to act without adding fire to the fire. And it's not just about the big moments. Anger, pain, fear. It's about the ordinary, quiet moments too. Walking outside, feeling the wind, watching sunlight move through the trees, hearing birds, noticing your own breath. Each moment is a reminder that you are part of a river that flows through everything. You are not separate. The me you cling to is like foam on the surface, rising and falling with the current. And beneath it all, life moves alive, interconnected, fluid. Maybe you notice a little joy too, a smile from a stranger, a warm memory, the taste of a morning coffee. These are not possessions of the I. They are just moments flowing through you, like the rest of life. And when you start to see this clearly, you feel lighter, Not because life is easier, not because pain disappears, but because the walls between you and life, between you and others, are softer. You can hold life without clutching it. You can experience it fully, without needing to claim and control it or resist it. And this is the heart of living without walls. The I is not a prison. The other is not an enemy. Life is not a battle to be won. It is a dance. You rise and fall with it. You move and breathe with it. And in this gentle awareness, something remarkable happens. You start to feel your connection with everyone, with everything. The joys of others are yours too. Their healing touches you. Their pain ripples through, and you can respond with understanding without fear. It's okay if this feels soft, if it feels small. That's the point. You don't have to do anything dramatic. You don't have to change the world in one breath. Just notice, just breathe, just be, and maybe, just maybe, you feel the first glimpse of freedom. Not the kind of freedom you chase or imagine, but the kind that arrives quietly when you stop holding on to a separate self. If you've been finding these moments helpful, maybe subscribe, so we can keep exploring them together. No rush, no pressure, just gentle reminders that life is flowing, that you are part of it, that each small noticing matters. You don't need to fix anything. You don't need to understand everything. Just be here. Just breathe. Just watch the river of life move through you. And that's the practice, the path, the invitation. Life is not waiting for you to catch up. It is happening now. And when you soften the story of I, when you notice the movement without clutching at it, you may start to feel something you didn't think possible. The walls are gone and freedom is already here, flowing with every breath, every step, every glance. Maybe by now, you're beginning to notice how life feels a little different when the story of I softens. It's subtle, isn't it? A small lightness in the chest, a quiet curiosity about what's really happening right now. And yet, even with that, life keeps coming. People, problems, worries, moments that challenge us. And that's okay. That's where this awareness really begins to matter. Not as an idea, not as a belief, but as something we feel and move with. Think of the moments that used to feel heavy. Anger, disappointment, fear. Usually when we feel these things, we clutch at the story of me and react. I can't believe this happened to me. This shouldn't be happening. I'm right, they're wrong. And then we pile thought upon thought, story upon story, and suddenly the pain doubles, triples, becomes bigger than the original moment. But what if we notice just the raw moment itself, the feeling of anger without labeling it, without saying, I am angry, the sensation of fear, without adding this is too much for me? It's okay if it feels strange at first. The mind loves to tell stories, but the more gently we notice, the more space we create. And in that space, something remarkable happens. The pain is still there, the fear is still there, but it doesn't own you. You don't have to fight it. You don't have to resist it. You can watch it move through you like clouds across the sky, passing, changing, fading. And maybe, for the first time, you feel a little free from it. This noticing doesn't mean we stop acting in the world. It doesn't mean we don't protect ourselves, care for others, or set boundaries. It means we act from a quieter, clearer place. Imagine someone threatens you or hurts you. The old story would flare up: fear, anger, self-defense. But from this place of awareness, you can act with precision without the extra fire. You can protect, you can respond, you can care, without adding suffering to the situation. The walls soften, the heart opens, not recklessly, but with understanding. And maybe you notice this isn't just about the big moments. It's in the small ones too. The morning coffee, the smell of rain, the sound of birds, the way the light moves through your window. These small moments are reminders that life is happening right now, flowing, whether we cling to it or not. You're a part of it. The I isn't separate from the world. It's a wave in a river, moving with everything else. And when we notice this, even just a little, life feels lighter. It's okay if it doesn't make sense. It's okay if it feels mysterious. That's the beauty of it. Life doesn't need to be solved. It just needs to be noticed, felt, lived. And in this noticing, we begin to see something else. Our connection to others. The suffering of another person isn't just theirs. It ripples through the world, through the same river we're in. The joy of another, the healing of another touches us too. And we can respond, not out of fear or clinging, but out of a quiet care that rises naturally when the walls soften. Even the mind itself begins to shift. Those stories of me and mine and I need start to lose their grip. Thoughts still arise, emotions still move through, but they are not commands. They are passing currents in a larger stream. And the freedom in noticing this is gentle, quiet, almost like exhaling a long-held breath. You don't have to do anything extra. You don't have to be perfect. Just be here. Just watch. Just feel. And maybe, just maybe, this awareness starts to touch how you live every day. How you speak, how you listen, how you move. You notice your partner, your child, your friend, your co-worker, not as obstacles or extensions of me, but as fellow travelers in the same flow. You notice the world, not as something separate, but as something arising with you, through you, in each moment. And that noticing, that quiet presence, begins to change everything. It's okay if it feels small, subtle, fragile. That's the point. Life itself is subtle, fragile, and always moving. The point isn't to grasp it, control it, or fix it. The point is to be present with it, to notice, to feel, to move with it. And when you do, even for a breath, even for a moment, the story of I softens. The walls dissolve. And you taste a little of the freedom that's been here all along, flowing quietly beneath it all. If this resonates even a little, maybe subscribe. Not because you have to, but because we can explore these small, quiet moments together. Gentle reminders, whispers, spaces to notice life as it is. Life is moving, and so are you. And maybe just by noticing, just by breathing, you can start to live without walls, without holding on so tightly, without building barriers inside your heart. So take a breath. Notice it. Feel your body. Notice the world moving around you. And let the story of I soften just a little. Let the walls dissolve just a little. And maybe in that space, you'll find that life is already free, already flowing, already here, moving through you and with you in every moment. Maybe by now, you're noticing something subtle but profound. Life is still life, messy, unpredictable, beautiful, painful, but somehow it feels a little lighter. The story of I is softening. The walls are loosening, and you begin to notice the space in between. That space is where real connection lives. Not the connection we think we have to force, or the connection built on expectation or control, but the quiet, gentle recognition that we are not separate from the world or from each other. And this is where it touches relationships. Maybe someone you love says something harsh, or someone close to you hurts you, intentionally or not. The old self would flare up, ready to defend, ready to push back, ready to build walls. But in this noticing, in this soft awareness, there's a pause. You feel the emotions, anger, fear, hurt, but you don't have to let them control you. You notice the wave, and maybe, just maybe, you notice the wave in the other person too. They have their story, their fear, their struggle. And in that noticing, a new kind of space opens. You can respond, not react. You can act with care, not just instinct. And it's okay if this feels fragile. It's okay if it doesn't work perfectly. Life doesn't demand perfection. Just a little noticing, a little presence, a little breath. Even a single breath of awareness can shift a moment, can change the way we move through it. You may find yourself listening differently, speaking differently, loving differently. Not because you're trying to be perfect, but because you see clearly even just a little. Freedom, in this sense, is not about escaping life. It's not about removing pain or problems or other people. It's about noticing life as it is, feeling it deeply, and moving with it rather than against it. When you start to see this in action, you notice your own reaction softening. You notice the urge to cling to what is mine fading. You notice that you can care, you can protect, you can act without fear. And the world feels a little more spacious, a little more alive, a little more like home. And maybe this is where the quiet power comes in. When we stop clinging to the self, when we stop defending the walls we've built, we find strength and clarity. Strength in seeing life clearly. Strength in seeing others clearly. Not through the stories we tell, not through the judgments we make, but through simple noticing, simple presence. And it's gentle. It's soft. It doesn't have to shout or push. It just is. Even ordinary moments can become gateways. Making tea, washing dishes, walking outside, noticing the sun on your skin, the wind in your hair, the sound of life moving around you. Life is happening, and you are not separate. You are not a prisoner behind walls of fear or identity or expectation. You are a part of it, flowing with it, breathing with it, noticing with it. And in that noticing, a kind of freedom begins to grow, small at first, but steady. Maybe someone asks, if there's no separate self, if the I is not fixed, how do I care for myself? How do I protect myself? And the answer is simple, gentle, quiet. You act from understanding, not from fear. You take care, you set boundaries, you respond. But you do it lightly, without adding suffering, without clinging to a rigid story of me. Protection, care, love, all of it can happen from this soft place of clarity. And it's okay if this feels subtle. Subtle is enough. A quiet noticing of breath, a pause before speaking, a gentle awareness of what's happening in your heart. That's enough. It's more than enough. It's the beginning of living without walls, the beginning of a heart that isn't trying to win or prove or escape, but is simply awake, present, flowing with life. If you've been with me this far, maybe subscribe so we can continue this gentle exploration together. No pressure, no need to fix anything. Just small reminders, quiet whispers, a little space to breathe and notice life. Because every moment matters, every breath matters, every noticing matters. And the world feels different when we begin to see clearly, when we begin to soften the walls, when we begin to live without clinging so tightly to the story of me. And so we continue. Notice your breath. Feel your body. See the world around you. Watch the stories rise and fall, like clouds across the sky. And in that gentle awareness, notice the freedom already here, flowing quietly beneath it all. It doesn't need to be earned. It doesn't need to be chased. It's already moving with you, through you, in every step, every glance, every breath. And maybe, just for a moment, you can let yourself be fully present with it. Maybe by now, you're beginning to notice that this gentle awareness is not just a quiet moment you step into occasionally. It's a way of moving through life, even when it gets messy, even when things don't go the way you want. Life will still surprise you, frustrate you, even hurt you. But when the story of ice softens, when the walls begin to loosen, the way you respond changes. You don't have to react the same way you always did. You have a choice. And maybe that choice comes from noticing, from pausing, from being fully present, even in small, ordinary moments. It might feel strange at first, this noticing without judgment. You might catch yourself thinking, I should feel differently. I should fix this. And that's okay. Maybe it's okay to just feel what you feel, to see what's really happening, without needing to change it, without needing to solve it. The world doesn't ask us to control everything. Life is moving, flowing, shifting, and we are part of that flow, not separate from it. Maybe someone close to you is upset or angry or scared. The old self would rush in, defend, explain, argue. But this gentle awareness allows a pause. You notice the tension in your body, the rise of emotions, the racing of thoughts. You notice the other person's struggle too, their story, their wave in the same river. And in that noticing, you can respond differently. You can act from care, from clarity, from understanding, not from fear, not from resistance, not from clinging to a separate self. It doesn't mean you let go of boundaries. It doesn't mean you let others walk over you. It means you act lightly, firmly, wisely, without adding more suffering. And life still brings its small moments, washing dishes, making a cup of tea, walking down the street. These moments, often overlooked, are invitations. Invitations to notice, to feel, to be present. Notice the warmth of the cup in your hand, the sunlight on your skin, the sound of birds in the distance, the movement of your breath. Each of these ordinary moments is a reminder that life is not separate from you. You are not behind a wall, watching from the sidelines. You are moving with life, breathing with life, noticing life as it happens. It's okay if this awareness feels fragile. It's okay if the old habits keep rising, keep pushing back. That's normal. The mind is used as a story of I. It loves its walls. But each time you pause, each time you notice, each time you soften the story of me, the walls loosen a little more. The river flows a little more freely. And that freedom is not distant. It's not something you have to earn or chase. It's already here, moving with every breath, every glance, every step. Maybe you wonder, if there's no solid self, if the I is not fixed, how do I make decisions? How do I face challenges, conflicts, or even enemies? And the answer is gentle, simple. You act from clarity, from awareness, from understanding. You notice your feelings, you notice the other's feelings, you notice the conditions arising, and you act wisely. You don't have to react with fear or anger or clinging. You act like someone who sees clearly, not blindly, not harshly, but firmly, with compassion and discernment. And this noticing doesn't mean life becomes perfect. Pain still comes, fear still comes, loss still comes. But the difference is in how it moves through you. You notice it. You feel it. You allow it. You breathe with it. And the suffer we create on top of life, the extra story, the clinging, the resistance, begins to soften, even just a little. That small softening is freedom. That small pause, that gentle noticing, is already liberation. And maybe that's the invitation here, to keep noticing, to keep breathing, to keep watching the river of life move through you, to see the walls soften, even just a little. And if you've been finding these moments meaningful, maybe subscribe, so we can keep exploring this together. Gentle reminders, quiet whispers, spaces to pause and feel life as it is. No pressure, no expectation, just presence. So Take a breath now. Feel your body. Notice the world moving around you. Let the story of I soften, even just a little. Let the walls melt, even for a moment. And in that space, notice the freedom that's already here. Quiet, gentle, flowing through you, moving with you in every breath, every step, every glance. And maybe, just maybe, you can begin to live life without walls, awake, present, deeply connected to everything, even the smallest, most ordinary moments. Maybe now you're starting to notice a rhythm, a quiet rhythm of life flowing through you. It's subtle, soft, but it's there. The world is still unpredictable. People still disappoint, hurt, or surprise you. Things still go wrong, and sometimes life feels heavy. And that's okay. Maybe it's okay to just notice it, to feel it, to be here with it, without needing to fix it. This is a beginning of seeing life differently, not as a battle to win, not as a story of me versus them, but as a flowing, interconnected movement. Maybe you notice it in your relationships first. When someone close to you acts from fear, anger, or hurt, the old self would flare up instantly. You would react, defend, or lash out. But with this quiet noticing, a space opens. You feel your own emotions, and you see the other person's too. You see their struggle, their story, their wave in the same river. And in that space, you can respond differently. You can act with gentleness, with clarity, without clinging to a fixed sense of I. You may even find yourself listening more deeply, speaking more softly, caring more naturally. It's okay if it feels small. Small noticing is enough. Each pause, each breath, each gentle awareness of what's happening right now is a seed. And seeds grow slowly, quietly, often unseen. The small moments of mindfulness, watching a tree, feeling your breath, noticing a smile, hearing a song, these are reminders that life is not separate from you. You are not a prisoner behind walls. You are part of the flow, moving with it, breathing with it, noticing it. Even at work, even in the busy, noisy moments, you can carry this awareness. The boss is harsh. The traffic is slow. A project is stressful. But each moment is still flowing through you. You can notice your tension, your frustration, your thoughts, without clinging to them. You can act with precision and care, without the extra fire of old stories. You can be present, even amid chaos. And in that presence, the work becomes lighter, the interaction softer, life a little more spacious. And when life gives you pain, the real physical or emotional pain that seems unavoidable, you may notice something incredible. You can feel it fully, but not at a second arrow. You feel the raw sensation, but you don't immediately layer with fear, blame, or I can't take this. The pain is still there, yes, but the suffering that comes from resisting or clinging begins to soften. Even a little softening is freedom. Even a little space between the moment and the reaction is liberation. Maybe you notice joy in the same way. A laugh, a touch, a warm memory, a small kindness. They are not possessions of the I. They flow through you, and you notice them. And noticing them without clinging allows them to be brighter, fuller, more alive. You are not holding them too tightly. And that lightness is freedom too. Life moves through you, and you are moving with life, awake, aware, connected. And the world outside, nature, people, everything around you, is part of this dance too. You are not separate. A bird singing, the wind brushing your cheek, a stranger's smile, a child's laughter. They are not separate from you. The story of I may whisper that they are, but you notice the rhythm, the interconnection, and in that noticing, a soft kind of awe rises. Not the loud kind, not the dramatic kind, but a quiet wonder. Life is alive, and you are alive with it. It's okay if it feels fragile. It's okay if the old habits rise again. That's normal. Each noticing is a little victory. Each gentle awareness is a little liberation. You don't have to get it perfect. You don't have to solve it all. Just notice. Just breathe. Just soften. And when you do, the walls continue to dissolve. You can move, act, love, and respond in that soft, present place. And maybe that's the invitation here. To keep noticing, to keep breathing, to keep watching the river of life move through you, to respond with care, with clarity, with understanding, to soften the walls, even just a little, each day. And if this whispers something to you, maybe subscribe so we can explore these quiet, small, meaningful moments together. No rush, no pressure, just presence, just noticing. Take a breath now. Feel your body. Notice the world moving around you. Notice the story of I softening, even just a little. Notice the walls melting, even for a moment. And in that space, notice the freedom that's already here. Quiet, gentle, flowing, moving through you, moving with you, in every glance, every step, every breath. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough to begin living life without walls. Maybe now you're noticing something deeper. Life still brings fear, loss, and uncertainty. That won't go away. And that's okay. Maybe it's okay to let those feelings be here, to notice them without rushing, without trying to push them away. Even fear can be observed. Even pain can be felt without adding a story of, I can't handle this. The old self would tighten, resist, clutch. But in this gentle noticing, a new possibility appears. A pause, a space, a softening that wasn't there before. Even the fears that feel the strongest, the ones about safety, about failure, about losing someone you love, they begin to change when you see them clearly. Not because they disappear, not because life becomes perfect, but because you see them differently. You notice them as waves moving through you, not as threats to solid me. You notice the tension, the thoughts, the tightness in your body, and you breathe with it. And in that breathing, the fear starts to flow differently. It becomes less of a wall and more of a signal, a movement, part of the same river you are moving with. And maybe this is where compassion arises, not just for others, but for yourself. The self you once clung to, the I that feared, judged, or controlled, is not a thing. It's a process. And noticing that gently, softly, allows a kind of forgiveness. You can notice your mistakes, your anger, your worry, without letting them define you. And noticing the other's struggle, their fear, their pain, well, it softens your heart too. You start to see people differently, not through the lens of me versus them, but as fellow travelers moving to the same currents with their own waves just like you. And life still asks questions, hard questions. What about injustice? What about harm, betrayal, or cruelty? How do you act in the world without the walls of I and them rising again? And the answer is simple, though not easy. You act from clarity, from awareness, from presence. You notice your feelings. You notice the conditions around you. You notice the story that wants to flare up. And then you act firmly, wisely, without adding more suffering. Not out of fear, not out of hatred, not out of clinging to identity. You act like someone who sees clearly, like a surgeon, precise, careful, compassionate. Even ordinary moments carry this wisdom. A conversation with a friend, a disagreement with a coworker, a moment of waiting in line. They are all invitations to notice, to soften, to respond instead of react. The world still moves unpredictably, but you move with it differently. The story of I may still whisper, but you no longer have to believe it completely. You see the flow, the interconnection, the river in which we all move. And that seeing brings freedom, not grand, dramatic freedom, but quiet, subtle, real freedom in every step. Maybe you notice this in nature, too. The trees, the wind, the clouds, the sun, they move, change, arise and pass. And you are part of that. The bird in the sky is not separate. The rain on your skin is not separate. Even the sounds and movements of people around you are not separate. The story of I tells you otherwise, but the noticing shows the truth. We are not separate from life. We are part of it, flowing with it, breathing with it, noticing with it. And it's okay if this feels fragile. It's okay if old habits rise again. That's normal. Each time you pause, each time you notice, each time you soften the story of I, the walls loosen a little more, the river flows a little more freely. And that gentle, quiet flow, that soft, subtle awareness, is already freedom. It doesn't need to be earned. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's already here, in every breath, every glance, every small, ordinary moment. If this is speaking to you, maybe subscribe. Not because you need to, not because it will fix anything, but because together we can explore these quiet, small, gentle spaces. Spaces to notice, to breathe, to soften, to live lightly, even in a world that feels heavy sometimes. Because life is moving, and so are you, and even noticing just a little can change everything. So take a breath. Feel your body. Notice the world moving around you. Let the story of I soften, even just a little. Let the walls melt, even for a moment. And in that gentle space, notice the freedom that's already here. Quiet, flowing, subtle, moving through you, moving with you in every step, every glance, every breath. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough to begin living life without walls. Maybe by now, you're noticing that life is moving differently, even if just a little. The story of I isn't quite as loud. The walls aren't quite as rigid, and the moments feel a touch lighter. Life still brings challenges, still brings moments of fear, disappointment, and loss. And that's okay. Maybe it's okay to just be here with them, to notice them without needing to push them away, without needing to fight, without needing to fix everything. You can simply breathe, simply notice, simply be present with what is. Even the simplest experiences start to feel different. Walking down a familiar street, noticing the sunlight on the pavement, the rustle of leaves, the rhythm of your own steps. They are no longer just ordinary. They become reminders that life is flowing through you. You are not separate from the movement of the world. You are not a fixed I trying to hold on. You are a part of the river, moving with it, noticing it, breathing with it. And that noticing, soft and gentle, begins to change the way you feel, the way you act, the way you see the people and the world around you. Relationships, too, begin to shift. You notice your reactions, the impulse to defend, to react, to cling to your story. And then, maybe for the first time, there's a pause. You feel your own wave, and you notice the other's wave. You see their struggle, their fear, their pain, not as an enemy, not as something to resist, but as another movement in the same river. And in that space, you respond differently. You speak differently. You listen differently. You care differently. And all of that arises naturally, gently, without effort, without forcing. Even fear begins to soften. The fears that used to feel so heavy about the future, about loss, about failure, they are still there, yes, But now, when they arise, you can notice them, breathe with them, see them clearly. They move through you like clouds across the sky. They don't control you. They don't define you. You are still here, flowing with life, noticing life, breathing with life. And in that gentle noticing, the old walls of fear start to dissolve, leaving space for freedom, for presence, for connection. And joy, too. Small joys, an unexpected smile, the taste of a favorite meal, a moment of quiet, a child's laughter, become more vivid, more alive, because you notice them without clinging. You don't try to hold them. You don't try to own them. You just feel them as they arise, fully, gently, clearly. And that lightness, that presence, that simple, open awareness, it's a kind of freedom, too. Even when life brings suffering, the principles remain the same. Pain still comes, disappointment still comes. People still hurt each other, life still surprises. But you can notice it, feel it, and let it flow. The story of I may whisper that it is permanent, that it is unbearable, that you must fight. But noticing shows it is not. Everything moves, changes, arises, passes. And you move with it, breathing, noticing, present. That simple shift, soft, subtle, quiet, is the beginning of living without walls. And maybe that's the invitation now, to keep noticing, to keep breathing, to keep softening, even just a little every day, to respond to life with awareness, not resistance, to see the waves in yourself and in others, and act from that gentle clarity, to live fully, even in the ordinary, the mundane, the messy. Life is still life, but it is flowing, alive, connected. And so are you. If this has touched you, maybe subscribe, not because it will fix anything, but so we can continue exploring these quiet, gentle spaces together. Little reminders, gentle whispers, moments to pause and notice, moments to breathe and soften, moments to live with a little more freedom, a little more presence. Take a breath now. Feel your body. Notice your surroundings. Let the story of I soften even just a little. Let the walls melt, even for a moment. And in that soft, quiet space, notice the freedom that is already here, subtle, flowing, moving through you, moving with you, in every glance, every step, every breath. And maybe, just maybe, that is enough to begin living fully awake, present, and deeply connected to everything around you. Maybe now, after all this noticing, all this breathing, all this gentle awareness, you can feel a little more space inside. Life hasn't changed. Storms still come, challenges still appear, people still disappoint, and loss still visits. But somehow, something feels different. You're not quite so trapped in the story of I. The walls are softer. The river flows a little more freely. And in that quiet freedom, even the ordinary moments start to feel alive. You notice your own thoughts and feelings without immediately believing them. You notice the reactions that used to pull you under, the fear, the anger, the hurt, and you see them as waves passing through you, not as a fixed me being attacked. And maybe that's the most beautiful part. You don't have to fight life. You don't have to control it. You don't have to force it. You just notice, you just breathe, you just allow. And in that allowing, life begins to move differently through you. Even the way you act in the world begins to change. You notice before you react. You pause before responding. You see the other person, the situation, even yourself, with a little more clarity, a little more space, a little more compassion. And that doesn't mean you let people walk over you. It doesn't mean you ignore danger or injustice. It means you respond from presence, from clarity, from understanding, not from fear, not from clinging, not from the story of a separate self. You act like someone who sees a river flowing, not just a single drop fighting against the current. And freedom, maybe, isn't what you expected. It's not the absence of pain, the absence of fear, or the absence of challenge. Freedom is noticing. Freedom is softening. Freedom is seeing life as it is, moving with it, breathing with it, being part of it without walls. It's quiet, subtle, almost invisible, but it's real. And it's always here, flowing through you, waiting for you to notice it, for you to soften into it, even just a little. Even the little joys take on a new clarity. A smile from a stranger, the warmth of sunlight, the taste of a favorite food, the sound of birds in the morning. They aren't just background. They are part of the river you are moving with. You don't have to hold them, own them, or cling to them. You just notice. You just breathe. You just allow them to pass through. And in that allowing, life feels lighter, fuller, more alive. And maybe this is a final whisper. Life is moving. You are moving. The I that you thought was solid, separate, in control, was never fixed to begin with. It's a process, a flow, a river that rises and falls, a wave that comes and goes. The observer and the observed, the seer and the seen, they are not two. They were never two. And when you see that, even softly, quietly, just for a moment, the walls dissolve. The freedom is already here. It's subtle, yes, almost imperceptible, but it's real. And so the invitation continues. Notice, breathe, soften, move with life, not against it. Act with clarity, with compassion, with awareness. Respond, don't react. Live fully, even in the ordinary, even in the small, even in the messy. Life is alive, and so are you. And maybe, if you found these words meaningful, you could subscribe. Not for pressure, not for obligation, but so we can continue sharing these quiet moments, these gentle reminders, these soft whispers of noticing, awareness, and freedom. Together, a little at a time, softly, we can keep practicing presence, keeping the walls soft, keeping the river flowing. Take a deep breath now. Feel it in your body. Feel it in your heart. Notice the world around you, the life flowing through you. Let the story of I soften, even just a little. Let the walls melt, even for a moment. And in that gentle, quiet space, notice the freedom that's already here, flowing subtle, moving through you, moving with you in every glance, every step, every breath. And maybe, just maybe, that is enough. Enough to live awake, alive, present, deeply connected, without walls, even if only for one breath.